The Bernina Express is a scenic train journey linking Tirano just across the border from Switzerland into Italy with Chur or St. Moritz in Switzerland. Known for its panoramic windows, it offers breathtaking views of glaciers, alpine villages and mountain landscapes. Apart from the carriages with the big panoramic windows, what make the Bernina Express, this train is being pulled by a regional train that is functioning like a locomotive. And in this video I will show you all, because in the regional train you don't need a reservation. Join me on the Bernina Express from Tirano in Italy to Chur in Switzerland. You find them on two routes between Tirano and St. Moritz and Tirano and Chur. Basically the same, although the one to Chur goes a little bit further into Switzerland. I'll tell you more about that in the video, but for now let's get this video on the track and let's roll the intro. This time I arrived in Tirano in Italy by Bernina Express bus that I took from Lugano in Switzerland. The buses do depart from the back of the railway station. I do have a video on the Bernina bus as well. Apart from the Bernina bus, you can also travel with regional trains between Tirano and Milan, and if you change in Monza, you can change on another local train back to Switzerland again. I do have trip reports on all of this as well. The town of Tirano, I didn't visit it actually. Again, well, just a quick look at the center and it was more alive than I initially thought. This is definitely not my first time here, but normally I just basically switch quickly between the mainline trains and the Bernina Express. At Tirano you will find two railway stations right next to each other. One railway station is for the mainline trains, so the trains to Italy basically. And these are in this situation mainly regional trains that are going to Milan. That's the railway station over here. Even though you find two platforms and three tracks, basically only track number 1 is being used for these regional trains. Over here there's a waiting area inside where you find a ticket vending machine, but I have to say the infrastructure to buy your train tickets online is really easy as well. There's also a small cafe, basically a kind of a kiosk where you can buy some food and drinks and, well, just get some stuff for your journey. If you're traveling with these regional trains to Milan, there's no dining car. Ticket prices for the regional trains are really affordable, and if you're traveling with Interrail or Eurail, you don't need a reservation, you can just hop on. For now, let's head to the railway station of the Rhätische Bahn, and this is also the railway station for the Bernina Express. These are two different railway stations because it's also a totally separated system. The trains of the Rhätische Bahn are basically the railway network that is serving the Swiss canton of Graubünden, what is also the biggest canton of Switzerland in terms of land size. And these trains do run on narrow gauge railway lines, so the width of the tracks is smaller than for regular trains. There are some advantages when it comes to this, and especially in very rough terrain like in mountains. I'm not digging in that too much for now. This here is the railway station for the Rhätische Bahn. There is something that could theoretically be for customs, but in general the borders are open because you're traveling in the Schengen area, although there might be border checks every now and then. You find this ticket counter over here, and at the other side you will find toilets, a vending machine for tickets, and that's basically it. Of course, there are some timetables as well with information about departing trains. Apart from paper timetables, you obviously also find digital information about departing trains. This is quite a big station in terms there are quite a lot of tracks, although only track 3 and 4 are located right next to a platform. And the Bernina Express can depart from both of these platforms. For both platforms at the specific platform, at least at the platform that hosts the side of the track, you will find the composition screens for the Bernina Express. There are 3 trains per day in both directions obviously, between St. Moritz and Tirano. And there are 2 trains per day, obviously also in both directions, between Chur and Tirano. And that's the one we'll be taking today, what is also the longer route. For this, let's take a close look on the map for the Bernina Express. Right now we are in Tirano in Italy and we'll be taking the Bernina Express to Chur. Unlike what this map is showing you, there's no Bernina Express to Davos. It's just that there's a connecting train in Italy Chur. The same thing counts, by the way, for the Glacier Express. We arrived in Tirano with the Bernina Express bus from Lugano, what is also in Switzerland, but obviously you can also just take the regular trains. Personally, I prefer that much more. Our train will not call at St. Moritz, but will just go past St. Moritz. Let me show you this map to give you some better understanding of this. This map shows the electricity that is on the overhead wires for the train. And as you can see, there are two different voltages. The railway line St. Moritz-Tirano, what is the first section if you're traveling from Italy to Switzerland, has originally been built by another company. Nowadays, this is all of the state-owned railway company of Graubünden, what is the Rhätische Bahn or Rhäthian Railways. The voltage on the overhead wires will be changed at the railway station of Pontresina. Well, there are many ways how you can change the electricity for a train. Sometimes this happens while the train is moving, and at some other moments, like over here, the electricity will be taken out from the overhead wires and they will put the new voltage on the overhead wires. While this is happening, the train is also changing the settings so it can take the other voltage. Some trains can handle different kinds of voltages and other trains only one type. So not all trains can run on the entire Rhätische Bahn network. You basically have the railway line Tirano, Italy to St. Moritz in Switzerland, and then the rest of the Rhätische Bahn network. That is also connected on the network of the Gotthardbahn, by the way, that has the same voltage on the overhead wires. If you're traveling along the same route of the Bernina Express, but then totally with regional trains, you can do this as well, but for this reason you have to change trains in St. Moritz. If you go to Chur, then you have to change once, but this takes more time because the connection is not that great. You can also change in Pontresina and in St. Medan, so relatively short after each other, and this is way faster. The reason why is simple because of the overhead wires that is different on the line Tirano-St. Moritz. Most trains that do depart from the railway station Tirano do also have St. Moritz as their final destination. This includes 3 Bernina Express trains per day. And there are 2 Bernina Express trains per day that do operate between Chur and Tirano. This is, by the way, also depending a little bit on the season, so take this in account. As I was filming a bit at the railway station, they were already preparing our train for today. One thing I really want to mention. I am working as a travel agent for a tour operator that is selling railway packages all over Europe. And for this I was actually guiding a group tour together with a colleague of mine, but I had some freedom to film. But one thing I really want to mention. If you take the late Bernina Express train from Chur to Tirano, it has in general much more availability. And the same thing counts for the early Bernina Express train from Tirano to Chur. Traveling along the same route with regional trains is also very doable and maybe even more fun. However, if you want to have a seat within these panorama coaches, you need to have a reservation on top of your ticket. And the Bernina Express is a popular train, so it books out pretty fast. Before we take a close look at our train for today, I hope you like this video so far. If you do so, or if it's a helpful video to you, please give me a thumbs up, I really appreciate that. And if you'd like to see more trip reports about more sustainable ways of transportation, the main focus for this channel is cross-bordering and or long distance traveling, then hit that subscribe button if you haven't done this already. For now, let's continue with this video. And we start off by taking a look at the exterior of our train for today. The Bernina Express is being pulled by a train set, and that's this train set over here. This is basically a regional train where you can just hop on without any reservation. It has 2 classes, first and second class, and over here you find the coaches of the Bernina Express that do come in first and second class as well. At the side you'll find digital displays that will host the carriage number, the train number, the stops along the way and the final destination, and the numbers 1 and 2 at the side do indicate crystal clear where you will find the first and the second class. For the interior, I will start off by showing you the panorama coaches of the Bernina Express in second class. I will use some footage I shot 3 years ago as well, when I also made a trip report on the same route, but then from Chur to Tirano. And this here is the second class that comes in a classical 2x2 configuration, so 2 seats on both sides of the aisle. Typically for Switzerland, all seats are facing each other. Obviously you won't find overhead luggage racks, but at the end of the compartments there are big luggage racks where you can store quite a lot of luggage. Also, you find these key holders at the vestibules. I mean, we are in the Alps after all. Seat numbers are located at the side. For some carriages, you can move this thing over here to indicate if a seat has been reserved or not, but you won't find this in all carriages. The first and second class have been marked crystal clear, both at the side of the train, if you move through the train at the beginning of the open compartment, and also at the headrests it has been marked crystal clear if you're in first or second class. At the side near the windows you will find small tables, and integrated within these tables there are small litter bins. I really like it that you use cardboard litter bags instead of plastic. I really do my best to reduce plastic as well, and I really like to see this as well. A line map of the Rhätische Bahn network is located at the tables. Some booklets with information about the route and what you can buy on board of the train are located at the side. I shot this part, by the way, in 2021, so please mind that the prices probably went up. Normally I really like dining cars and buy food on trains, but the Bernina Express is really pricey on this part. Dining cars on trains are in general a bit pricier than, well, not in trains, but I really like the experience, so I think it's worth the money. However, you're on a train in Switzerland, what is already pricier, and then also on a touristic train. You don't have to study rocket science to realize that the prices on these trains are relatively high. The same thing counts, by the way, for the Glacier Express that you see over here, but there you have the onboard dining experience, what is actually really nice. At the end of the carriages in second and also first class, by the way, you find basic LED screens that will host some basic route information and also the carriage number. By the way, what's also a thing in terms of availability, I found out that in Switzerland, especially for the panoramic trains, second class books out less fast than first class. And it's still a good product if you ask me. First class comes in a 2x1 configuration, just like basically anywhere. The seats are a bit more comfortable and you have more legroom. Obviously, the seats can also be reclined. Just like second class, you have at the end of the compartment special space for luggage, but don't miss out on the back ends between the seats, where you can also store quite a lot of luggage. And that doesn't count only for this train, but for trains in general. Basically, within first class you find the same as in second class, but you have more space. And there's maybe a bit more surface, but it's not really worth mentioning. Apart from the folders that are located at the tables near the windows, there's also an onboard Wi-Fi and an entertainment system that will link your mobile device to, well, an entertainment system over the Wi-Fi network where you can get more information about the route. Even though you probably don't want to use it, why are you in this panoramic coaches otherwise? But you will find sunscreens at all windows as well. It's electric and you can use the button at the side to take it down. Well, I won't do that too much though, just for the video a little bit. But we're in a panoramic train for a reason, not to block out the sunlight. You will find these small buttons for stops on requests, but as far as I know, there are no stops on request on the Bernina Express route. Oh, these big panoramic windows on the Bernina Express carriages are great. However, you cannot open the windows, but at the vestibules at some parts you will find windows that can be open. Of course, no train tour is complete without showing you the toilets, and these are the bigger accessible toilets on board the panoramic coaches. Normally bigger accessible toilets can also be used as a diaper change facility if you're traveling with a little baby, but that's not the case for these toilets. Then you also find the regular non-accessible toilets that are also pretty fine but way smaller for obvious reasons. The camera was a bit shaky when I recorded this. I recorded this part, by the way, in 2021, at the end of the journey, so the litter bin is a bit full. As I mentioned earlier on, the Bernina Express is being pulled by a regional train that is basically functioning like the engine. And over here you can just hop on without any reservation. You can take this specific train type if you want to take the direct train between Chur and Tirano. But if you change several times, you can take other trains, and they can literally expect all kinds of rolling stock, including some trains on the route from Chur to St. Moritz, for example, that do have a special photo carriage. And I like this much more, to be honest. You can open up the windows, and you also have some panoramic-like windows, because it goes also to the top of the carriage, as you can see over here. And you don't even need a reservation for this, but this is not what you can find on the direct Bernina Express trains. On the direct trains between Chur and Tirano, you will find these train sets that are once again pooling the Bernina Express carriages. At the sides, the numbers 1 and 2 do indicate the first and the second class, and some icons do indicate what facilities can be found where. An extra yellow stripe above the windows does exactly indicate where you will find the first class. And obviously I will show you this regional train as well. That is also serving like a real regional train, obviously. Therefore the entire atmosphere is different. It's more like a real train. By the way, in the summertime on the section Tirano-St. Moritz, you will also find open carriages. So without any roof, I mean that is the best panoramic experience you can ever have. And you also don't need a surcharge. How cool is that? Anyway, let's take a close look on these trains. At the ends of these trains, both at the front and at the back, no matter what way the train is moving, you will find the first class that comes in a 2x1 configuration. At the sides, you will find, just like in the Bernina Express carriages, the litter bin and also a map of the Rhätische Bahn network. For luggage, you obviously find the overhead luggage racks, but also don't miss out on the back ends between the seats, where you can store quite a lot of luggage as well. Coat hangers are located at the side, and over here you also find seat numbers, although seats can't be reserved here. And once again, as far as I know, there are no stops on request for these trains, but you will find buttons for stops on request. Might be useful for some other lines. Over here you will find power sockets at the sides right under the table. These seats can be reclined, although it's not that impressive, to be honest. The second class comes in a 2x2 configuration. At the entrance doors at the front and at the back of the train, you'll find this area over here where there are some folding seats and where you can also place skis if you put out the ski holders at least. At this side of the train in the second class you also find a line map of the Rhätische Bahn and a litter bin. And at the side of these tables you will also find power sockets. Screens at the end of the open compartments do host pretty detailed route information. This is way better than in the panorama coaches. Actually, the service level in the panorama coaches is better, but this is a much more modern part of the train. This here is the accessible area of the train, where people just put their luggage. This is, well, easier accessible because it's pretty step-free. And over here you find a big window as well, including a sunscreen. Yeah, they work with this button. Well, surprise, surprise, another table with a line map. And on board of this part of the train, there's only one toilet, and that's located over here. I recorded the interior of the toilet in 2021 when we still needed to wear face masks, and when I thought it was cool to wave at the mirror. Well, this is a bigger accessible toilet, obviously, because it's also in the accessible area of the train. And this toilet can also be used as a diaper changing facility if you're traveling with a little baby. Maps of the carriages with what facilities can be found where are located in all carriages, by the way. And in 2024 the toilet was occupied, so yeah, this is why I didn't film this time. Now let's move on to the other part of the train. What is the front or the back, depending what way the train is moving. Over here you find the engines, by the way, and these engines are really powerful. I mean, they also need to pull the Bernina Express carriages. And here is the other part of the first class in the, well, non-Bernina Express train. So in the regular train. And I honestly think that it's really worth to make a video of Tirano to Chur along the route of the Bernina Express, but with the full open panoramic coaches in the summertime and the trains that do have the photography carriages, to, well, give you some better comparison on how it is to travel on these trains if you don't take the Bernina Express or the regional train that is pulling the Bernina Express. Well, I think I told you quite a lot about these trains, and if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments. For now, I will show you where this train ride is all about, and these are the views from the train between Tirano and Chur. I'll get back to you at the end of this video.
One of these days we'll give back the time we borrowed. One of these nights I won't worry about tomorrow. And one of these moments will stick in my mind. And one of these afternoons, I swear, we'll get up and we'll leave this time. We'll never make it very far. I like you riding in my car with your banjo on your knee. I like you singing my songs back to me. I'm trying to stay between the lines that you read on that palm.
That's it for this video. I forgot to do the outro when I was at the spot, so I'm doing it right now, not too far away from home. I found an empty carriage. That's pretty cool to do these kind of things. I hope you like this video, or this has been helpful to you on the Bernina Express. If so, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. If you have some questions, feedback, comments, let me know in the comment section. And if you like to see more trip reports about more sustainable ways of transportation, the main focus for this channel is long distance and or international traveling. Well, this is not really a long distance, it's very slow train, it takes quite a lot of time. But it's an international train, it just ticks the box. But of course I have some exceptions when it comes to this. But if you like to see more, then hit that subscribe button if you haven't done this already. Before we really end up this video, one last thing. Once again, thank you for watching. If you are interested in following me on the socials, you can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky. If you like to see other videos, of course you can subscribe to see new videos coming up, but you can find many videos on this channel as well. Apart from that, in the description of this video you find a link to a map where you find all as well, but then on a map.